All right. Welcome. I'm getting everything set up here and then we are about to get started. I want to make sure everything is working because that is always a good start when things work. Gonna give it a minute or two, let some more people log in. If you guys want to share where you're calling from today, that's always a good starting point, right? To see where everyone's at in the world. I usually get some people from UK, from Australia, from Canada, all over the place. So I guess depending on your time zone, is if it's like the middle of the night, I highly doubt you're going to get up and listen to me talk. But I'm down here in sunny Florida. It is sunny today. Yesterday was cloudy because we had that hurricane off the shore, but we lucked out. So that's good. All right. Welcome, Cozy. Welcome, Leslie. Welcome, Lisa. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're joining me today to talk about Etsy, talk about getting your first 100 sales. It's a good benchmark to have, I think. Any sales is a good benchmark to have. But we're going to get rolling as people are logging in. Share where you're calling from. Welcome the people that are coming in, that are straggling into the webinar. Diane, welcome. Lynn's welcome. Share where you're calling in from in the chat. All right, we got a lot to go over today. So we're going to get rolling on this. I'm sure people will be joining us as we proceed. So the thing, we're going to get started. I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. Make sure you guys stay to the end so you don't miss anything. I'm going to do a Q&A at the end if you guys have questions. I'm going to talk about a bonus secret sauce strategy I want to cover. And I'm also going to talk about an amazing offer to help you grow and build your Etsy business more. If you want to take advantage of that, that's something that I'm going to talk about. But you are in the right place, of course. If you're struggling to get momentum in your shop, in your business, not sure what to focus on. Maybe you're like me when I first started out years ago, like a lost little boy in the forest, not knowing where to turn, where to go, which sucks. You want to build your business for the future, for the long haul, and you're serious about learning, which is why you're here. A lot of people don't invest in learning, especially learning from people that have been in their shoes, that have done it, so that they can move faster in their journey and struggle less. So I don't want that for you. So I'm definitely glad that you're wanting to invest in your business with knowledge. I'm happy you're here. This little guy is happy you're here. This is how I prefer to smile sometimes. I just thought this was funny. Anyways, I cracked myself up. Moving on. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm LL. I'm a corporate quitter. I actually quit my Etsy business in 2018. I had a full-time director position, 150 employees, 7 divisions, all that stuff. And what came with that was a lot of stress and a lot of problems that I did not create, that I had to deal with, which stinks. So I finally was able to grow my business enough to step away. And I haven't looked back since. I'm also the founder of Handmade and Beyond, which is also a YouTube channel, a podcast, and the new Etsy Games platform, all dedicated to help Etsy sellers start, build, and grow their business. I'm an Etsy and marketing nerd. I love this stuff. I love the business side of it and trying to figure things out and sharing what I've learned with you guys. And I'm also dedicated to helping you guys out. Hence why I'm doing this. Why I do all the free content and YouTubes and podcasts and all the stuff I can put out there. And I'm also a dog lover. I have 2 Pekingese. I had to throw them in here for you guys. Look at them. Aren't they cute? They're so cute. Anyways, moving on. Where I started, again, corporate grind, no time freedom. When you work for someone else, you don't have freedom over your time, even if you're higher up. Your employees dictate it, your bosses dictate it. So you got to ask for permission to leave early or to take vacation. So freedom over your time is really, I think, what a lot of people are after. Minimal Etsy sales because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. No idea what to do to fix things, where to go. Alone and frustrated. Growing your business, any business is a lonely journey. So it's nice to have a place to go where you can get help and get resources from someone that you trust and get motivation so you can keep going down this road. So right now, I've managed to make over $540,000 in Etsy sales. It still sounds crazy to say. That's my best performing shop. I still have a couple of other shops that I dabble in. I have freedom over my time. I can do. It doesn't mean that I work less. Sure, sometimes I work less, but I can decide when I work. I can work in the middle of the night if I want to. It doesn't really matter. The freedom of your time is really everything. Consistent daily sales. Which is nice that you can rely on that. And then I have a plan that I follow, a repeatable plan. So I'm less frustrated, less stressed out because I know what I have to do. And I'm also motivated and excited, especially when I get to talk with you guys, talk shop, talk Etsy, and hopefully help you guys and motivate you as well. But I always use this analogy because it wasn't always easy. So I use the iceberg analogy a lot because I think it's perfect. So the top of the iceberg is success that you see, other people's successes, other things, other people doing things that you want to do. And you're like, oh man, I want to do that. They did it so easy. It seemed so easy for them to be able to do it. But what you don't see in the bigger part of the story is the bottom part of the iceberg, which is usually like 4, 5, 6 times bigger than the top. And that's the good old fashioned, no shortcut work that has to go into creating your success. So if there's one takeaway from this presentation is that every single one of you can reach or at least get darn close to your Etsy goals, whatever they may be, but it's going to take work. It's not going to be magic, and it's not always going to be easy. So I think that mindset is really important. I worked full time while building my business on the side for years before I was able to grow it enough to step away. I worked during lunch breaks, after work, before work, and it wasn't easy, but it was worth it once you start to see progress. Once you start to see things fall into place, it's like a snowball effect. It starts moving faster and faster, and then that's what really starts to get fun as things start going faster and faster. And it is possible for you. I just want you to have the right mindset going in, and you're here and you're learning, which is a big part of being able to move faster. All right, so the goal for today, I'm going to talk about 3 valuable steps that'll help you get your first 100 sales on Etsy. If you're here and you have more than 100 sales, then you get a gold star. That's awesome. But this stuff could still help you. You could still kind of go back and reevaluate your business and maybe implement some of this stuff. And I'm also going to give you a bonus special sauce strategy and an offer to help you grow your business even more. And of course, if you guys have questions, we'll do a Q&A sesh. If there's time, which there should be a little bit of time left. All right, let's get going. Let's dive into this bad boy. All right, so if you can get 100 sales, you can get 200 sales, you can get 500 sales, you can get 1,000, 10,000. I really, truly believe that. The 100th sale is the first hurdle that you need to overcome, which will tell you so much about your business and where to go. It will leave you a path to follow. It will leave you breadcrumbs. So let's talk about how to get there. So the first step is starting your business. When you start your business, and even if you have your business already, you already have your shop open, however long it's been open, you should revisit what I'm about to talk about in this step just to make sure that you're doing these things. And if you're struggling, this is probably a good reason why you're struggling, is because this stuff's a little out of whack. It's okay to go back, to pivot, to readjust, to start again. Most businesses, let alone Etsy or not, don't get it right the first time. They make mistakes early. They have to pivot a little bit. They have to learn. And that's why you're here, I'm sure, is to learn and make sure you're doing things right or give it another go, because it is possible for you. So the first step is, and I like to talk about this because it's skills and passion. You should be doing this because you have skills and or passion. Passion is the most important part of this, right? So you want to make sure that you're passionate about what you're doing, that you actually care about what you're doing. Skills can be learned. You can learn the skills to do what you love doing. That can be learned. Passion, you really can't learn that. It's like teaching to love someone. You can't force yourself to love somebody. You know what I mean? Passion's the same way. And passion is important because it's going to keep you going when things get tough, which will happen. It's not usually a smooth journey. If it was and everyone could do it, then everyone would be doing it, right? But that's what all makes it worthwhile in the end, is the fact that it's not as easy and not everyone can do it. But I believe that you can do it, if you start to do these things and you really put your mind, you have the right mindset. When I first started, I was passionate about design and creation. I landed on graphic design. I went into the t-shirt space. That was one of my best performing shop. But I learned, so I was passionate about those graphic designs, but I taught myself Photoshop. I taught myself how to screen print. I didn't know how to do any of that. But I never would have pushed myself to learn those skills if I wasn't already passionate about what I wanted to do and the audience that I wanted to serve. So that kept me going at the end of the day, because it wasn't easy to teach myself all of those skills and all those things. And I wasn't really good when I first started. So you have to refine what you're doing. So that's what I like to touch on first. Find a niche, find an audience that you're passionate about. It's really, really important. The next part of this is demand. There must be demand for what you're selling. So what you decide to do, the audience you decide to serve, they need to be wanting what you're having, wanting to buy, if I can spit it out, what you're selling. So this is why you should have a few ideas when starting out to research that you're passionate about. Because once you do the research, if there's no demand for one of the things, then it's going to be a lot of work for no reason. And if no one is looking for or wanting your thing, then there's no chance of making sales. So demand is usually determined by the number of searches each month for your item, obviously the amount of people that are buying your item as well. But traffic is really a good indicator of demand. And you can still sell something unique that no one offers if there's a big demand, because you can leverage that. You can leverage an audience's traffic to your thing. So, for example, maybe you sell a unique dog harness that no one else offers. There's still a huge demand for dog stuff. So you can still capture some of that audience and traffic through SEO, even though you have a unique product. You offer something that is different that no one else has. So I know your next question is probably, well, how do you determine demand? Well, I'm going to tell you. So the first way is through keyword research. So there's tools out there, free versions of tools. There's Alora. This is a screenshot of Alora. You can see the traffic search volume per month. So this is a good way. You can look up keywords and niche ideas to see traffic. There's Everbee, eRank. So those are the tools out there. They're probably the top three. So that's a good way. You can also use tools like Google Keyword Planner to see traffic for Google. That's somewhat useful. There's AI. You use ChatGPT out there to see, get ideas and for what is selling and what is popular. Just keep in mind, if you use tools outside of Etsy that aren't pulling Etsy's API data, not to get too nerdy on you guys, it may not be 100% as accurate as using like a tool like this, where you can actually see exact search traffic specifically from Etsy. But those tools are good too, because they'll give you a good starting point, and you can kind of cross-reference them. The other thing that you can do is listing research to see what's already on the market, how those listings are performing, what they're selling, how they're setting up their listings. Doesn't mean you're going to copy them, but you can do something similar depending on your niche. So you can see this is a screenshot of some of these products. You can see their sales and traffic and all that stuff. This is another screenshot, from Alora. There's also another way that you can do it, and this is kind of a super top secret pro tip for you guys. If you want to use the Etsy platform to see kind of what is doing well, you go to the search bar in Etsy and you search for a keyword. You put a keyword in there, whatever it is, like gold pendant necklace, whatever you want to put in there. And then once the search results come up, there's a filter button. It's over here. It's covered up by this bar right here, but it's over here. You hit the filter bar button and this will pop out. This is how it'll look. You go down, you hit star seller. You click the star seller, and then basically you go back up to the top of the search bar here, and you see where this says best. So it'll say star. So take out star and put in best and hit enter, and all the best sellers will come up. So instead of the star seller stuff, it'll all be a best seller. So on Etsy, if you make a certain number of sales on a listing a month, you get a best seller badge. So this is a way to sort through best sellers on Etsy to see what's doing well. So there's your super secret bonus pro tip for you guys. So once you do all that research, it's important to base your research on demand, and then you want to decide and pick your niche. So your niche should be specific because this is how you want to grow faster. For example, your niche shouldn't be print on demand stuff. I mean, that's freaking everything. I mean, that's a million things, right? Print on demand or POD can be how your stuff is made, but that shouldn't be your niche. It's way too broad. So if you sell art, maybe your niche is like watercolor paintings or abstract paintings, which is still a little broad. You can go even more specific than that. If you sell POD, maybe your niche is sarcastic mom mugs or mom swag or something like that. The more specific, the better with your niche. And I'm going to talk about why that is important in the next couple of steps. So step 2, after you pick your niche and your target audience and who you want to serve, who you want to sell your stuff to, you want to build out the rest of your business from the work you've already done. So the first thing that you want to do, or the first way you want to think about this, is when you go to release products, release product lines. Don't think of it as one-off products. You don't really want to release one-off products. While this can work and people do find success with this, it's not a great long-term strategy, and it's usually a lot harder. So product lines help give both you and the algorithm more data to work with, because the listings are similar to your target audience, to your niche. So the algorithm's like, okay, this person is looking for this thing. I'm going to send it to this shop that sells several of these things, all similar, all related, so that they have a higher chance of finding something they like and buying. So that's why it's really important to think about it in terms of product lines. So here's an example for you. Don't do this. This person's selling a mom shirt, holiday jar, Florida mug, and then some other crazy shirt over here. None of these are related. They're not related product-wise except for the shirts, and they're certainly not related subject matter-wise. Now, at some point, you can work in different stuff, but starting off, don't do random stuff like this, because it seems random to your customers, and it also seems random to the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't know what the heck what audience you're trying to serve, so you're not going to get any of the traffic. So here's a better example. This person's selling these are like custom dog beds. I think they're dog beds. Yeah, they're dog beds. I was like, that was like a baby. Yeah, they're custom dog beds, and they have different sizes, different styles, different colors, but they're all related. We know that this audience is people looking for dog beds, dog stuff, dog moms, rescue dog moms. So this is the audience that you're serving. So if you have someone come in that wants a dog bed, or they're a new dog owner, the chance of them finding this shop or these listings is a lot higher than if you have a one-off random dog product in your shop. So that's how you have to think about it in terms of product lines and how you're building out your business and building out your shop for the future. The other thing that I'm going to talk about, and if you've been to any of these webinars before, you're like, he always talks about this, but I always talk about it because it's important. Because having a consistent listing strategy is important to success on Etsy or any e-commerce platform. And the reason for it, it's the single best thing that you can do to grow and learn is by putting up more listings, putting in more reps. So it's literally going to help your shop grow in listing number, but it's also going to help you with sales and revenue. Your goal should be new listings every single week, because the more listings you have out there related to your target audience, to your niche, the more data the algorithm is going to have, but it's also going to give you more information to make future decisions so that you can pivot and make strategical decisions based on what's happening in your shop. And if you're not doing this, you're not going to get any information. You're certainly not going to get any traffic to be able to make future decisions. So that's why it's really important. So here's some tips on, because I know you're probably like, well, okay, this sounds good, but how the heck do I do this? So here's some tips on how to do this. So the first way is just more listings based on demand. More listings. So you're researching, you find some keywords that are really good, a lot of high demand, and it fits for your target audience, for your niche. Oh, I'm going to release a product where I can use those keywords. I'm going to release a product that has that high demand. So that's good. But this isn't the only way to be strategic. So you can use what's selling. So you can do more listings based on what's working. This is an example, one of my listings that's done pretty well. So if I had a listing doing this well, I'd be like, okay, what's the subject matter of this listing? Can I do similar listings? Because if this is doing well, chances are if I release other products similar to this, they're also going to do well because people want that thing. They're buying that thing. Now, even if you're not getting a lot of sales, and maybe you're just getting traffic, maybe you're new and you're just open, you don't have any sales yet, that's fine. Pay attention to the traffic. If your traffic starts picking up on several products, that's telling you that there people are finding it, they're searching for it, there is some demand there. So those could be some breadcrumbs that you want to follow for the future. The other thing is more listings based on customer requests. I can't tell you how many times that I've gotten requests, and the longer you're open, the more requests you're going to have for a product, custom product, something I didn't have. And I was like, well, that's a great idea. I should offer that. Okay, I'll do that for you. And then I put it up for sale for other people. And it's sold over and over again. Probably at least a half a dozen times I've done that, and they became bestsellers. Those products became bestsellers because the customer wanted it. But it turns out there was a lot of other customers that wanted the same thing, and it was just something that I haven't thought of. Now, obviously, you want to do this where it makes sense for your niche and your shop. You don't want to be creating some crazy one-off product that has nothing to do with your branding or your target audience, because it's not going to make any sense. But you will get requests at some point, and if you can do them and it makes sense, then do them, and you'd be surprised. The next thing that you can do, you can create bundles and sets with your existing products to create more listings, which is a good way to add additional listings, but it's also a good way to increase overall revenue per customer because you have higher priced items. And if you're selling more higher priced items, your overall revenue is going to go up. So that's a good strategy. The other thing that you can do is trends. So you can do listings that focus on trends, and these could be like seasonal trends, holiday trends, cultural trends. And this can be a great way to drive traffic throughout the year because there's many different trends that come up throughout the year. But kind of a warning here on this one is you shouldn't base your whole shop on trends. It's not a sustainable model, and it usually doesn't work because I know a lot of people come into Etsy and they were like, oh, I'm just going to do only trends. It's just not sustainable because what happens is you're kind of all over the place with your listings, and your shop just really doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's better to have a core model, a core business model, a core audience that you're serving, and then you can work in trends that fit your model, and that will increase your revenue. By doing that, you can increase your revenue 20, 30% throughout the year by doing some trend type stuff, but it still makes sense because you have that core model that you're serving, the core audience that you're serving. So these are some of the many strategies you can do to come up with a consistent listing strategy plan. So you're getting stuff out there each and every week. The third step is growth. So this is the final step, and this is based on everything you guys have done up to this point. So this one is obvious, but not so obvious. Do more of what's working and less of what isn't. So I talked about this briefly in the listing strategy, but I want to hit it again because it's important. There's a lot of sellers that just throw mud on the wall without paying attention to what their shop is telling them. So everything that you do in your shop, every action that you take, you should have a reason for. And this is going to help you save a ton of time and be frustrated less. We don't have a ton of time. Our time is not infinite, it's finite. So we want to make sure that we're spending it on the right things and not wasting time on the wrong things, and having a strategy based on data and what our shop is telling us will help. So if you release a product line of products and after a few months, there's little or no traffic, that should tell you something's wrong. Either your SEO is messed up or people don't want your stuff. So either try to fix it, or just stop doing it. Don't just keep blindly continue to add products to that product line and they're not selling or getting traffic. That makes no sense. But you would be surprised how many people do that. And then it creates a lot of frustration because you have all these products. And you're like, well, nothing's sold and this is frustrating and Etsy doesn't work. Well, you're going down the path you shouldn't have went down. So you got to cut your losses sometimes. I know it sucks. You put in all that work, but sometimes you got to pivot, cut your losses. There's a sunk cost and you got to move on. The other thing that you can do for growth is you can niche down and or out. So it's a great way to expand on what you're already doing to get even more traffic and sales. So the first example of this is, so niche down examples are more specific subject matter. So how you would do this, this is just an example. Depending on your niche, is going to be different for you. So you have to put on your brainstorming cap. But if you sell funny mom shirts, it's still pretty broad. So maybe you try and niche down into funny mom wine shirts, or funny mom vacation shirts, or funny mom kid shirts. So, and try and niche down and build out product lines for those and see if any of those take off. Another example for you, maybe you sell watercolor art. So maybe you do watercolor animal art, watercolor fish art, watercolor safari animal art. So you get a little bit more specific and niche down a little bit more and see if any of those do well. And again, maybe your watercolor fish art starts to take off. So what does that tell you? Do more watercolor fish art. Do all the fishes. Do striped fish, all the fishes. Niche out examples are, so using the same examples. If you sell watercolor art, maybe you do watercolor art on prints, on mugs, on tees, on stickers. So you're doing what you already have. You're just putting it on different products to kind of niche out, but it still fits for your brand, for your target audience. The other thing that you can do is expand out with an adjacent niche. So this is where if you have watercolor art, maybe you're doing something that's adjacent. Maybe you want to try abstract art as well as watercolor art, or personalized art, or maybe you branch out a little bit more. Maybe you do a watercolor guide on how to do watercolor painting, or maybe you sell art supplies for watercolor art. So it still makes sense for your target audience, your target niche, and it serves that audience in different ways. So that's how you can make it a little bit more, not more dynamic, thinking about what you can do to serve your audience. All right, so those are the different ways that in order to growth strategies as far as niching out and niching down. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is marketing. This is kind of the last layer, but I have it last for a reason, because I have a warning. If you can't tell what this is a dumpster fire. So this is what we want to avoid. And you're like, well, why do you have a dumpster fire on the screen? Well, if your shop's listing, if your shops and listings and strategy are a dumpster fire, and you're not getting organic sales, then marketing's not going to help you. It's only going to hurt you. So you cannot fix a bad shop or bad listings if people don't want what you're offering. If it's not set up the right way, it's just going to it's just going to be a waste of time and money, and it's going to send traffic to your shop, and people aren't going to buy, which is the worst thing that could happen in terms of how the algorithm looks at your shop, because they will start ranking you further back and back because people aren't buying. So they're looking at that as a bad sign. Etsy's algorithm whole goal in life is to get people to buy stuff to make money for Etsy. So if you're sending traffic and people aren't buying, Etsy doesn't like that. I'm sure you don't like that either. So the goal is to make the algorithm work for you, get your piece of the pie. So we have to make sure that we're following these strategies and setting our stuff up the right way before we start with with marketing. So with that being said, with a couple of scare tactics for you, let's talk about some marketing. And this is, I want to mention this too really quick, is marketing may be a layer, and it should be a layer that you don't add in right away. When you're first getting started out, this isn't as important. Again, you want to make sure you're doing the Etsy stuff right first. You have a good strategy there. You're getting organic sales. Down the road, if you want to test this out, that's when you do it. But I still want to mention it because it can be beneficial for you. So the first way to market is paid internal marketing inside of Etsy. So this is what I mean about this. For this is Etsy ads. So Etsy ads and offsite ads. Etsy ads are inside the platform. You can control this in your dashboard. You can set your budget. You can pick which ads you want to advertise. You can turn them off, turn them on, whatever you want to do. You have full control over your Etsy ads. You still have to manage it. It doesn't fix bad listings. So if you just go in there and turn on all your ads and start advertising, you're just going to waste your money. So you got to manage it. You got to be careful with it. But it can help, and there's a lot of shops that do it. The other thing is offsite ads. So a little bit different. This is basically Etsy takes some of your listings and they advertise them themselves in Bing, Facebook, Google. You have no control over which listings they take and advertise. So it's totally hands off. The difference is that how they determine that benchmark or how it works is if you make more than $10,000 in a rolling 365-day period in sales, you're automatically opted into offsite ads. So you cannot opt out, and they will automatically advertise some of your stuff, but you only pay a fee if it sells. And the fee is up to 12%. Usually it's never that high, but it's a maximum of 12%. But again, you only pay it if something sells. So there's zero risk, which is kind of nice. This is the opposite of Etsy ads where you have all the risk. The other thing is if you make less than $10,000 in a rolling 365-day period, you have the choice. You can opt in or opt out, and then the fee is up to 15%. So you can opt in or opt out. Fee is a little bit higher, and it's up to you if you want to do it. So those are the differences there. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too much, but that's the difference between Etsy ads and offsite ads. The other thing is external marketing. So this is exactly what you think it is. It's social media, email marketing. If you start an email list to curate that list and send people back to your listings, to your shop. You can do blogging. If you have a website, blogging is a great way to drive traffic. You can do YouTube. A lot of people are doing, sellers are doing YouTube and other content in addition to social media. So all those are organic ways externally to drive traffic back to your Etsy shop when you're ready. The other way to market is paid external marketing. So this is basically Google ads, Meta ads, which is Facebook and Instagram, TikTok ads, Pinterest ads. So again, anything paid, you got to be careful with because you can easily lose money, and you got to make sure your shop and your business is in the right place before you test this out. And a lot of people, again, want to just jump on and throw money at the thing. And it's just way too early. You're barely riding the bike, and then you're trying to hit a ramp. You're going to tumble. You're going to fall. It's not good. We would never do that. So don't do that with your business. Make sure you're good at riding that bike before you start trying to hit those ramps. All right. So those are the three strategies to work on and implement in your business to start getting sales and traffic and refining what you're doing and paying attention to those breadcrumbs. But there's a bonus strategy for you. And this is kind of all the stuff that you've learned prior. This is where you take it and you put it into a framework to follow. So this is like a secret sauce bonus rule, but you're probably going to hate it. You're going to hate it because it's not magic. It is work. But again, it's a framework to follow. So stay with me on this one. It's going to make a little bit more sense. So this is the rule of 160. So it's 160 minutes a day spent on your business. Again, bear with me. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. It's going to make a little bit more sense. It used to be the rule of 200, and then I realized I got the math wrong. So if you've done a previous presentation, it used to be 200. Never mind. So 160 minutes a day spent on your business. If you really want to move as fast as possible. I get most people don't have this kind of time, and that's fine. It's the structure that makes sense for your business that you put all this stuff in so you can be structured, so you can chip away at things faster. So basically what this means is 100 minutes on new listings a day. So this is the lion's share of the workload that goes into Etsy, into your business. So you want to do your research, your product research, your keyword research, see what your competition's doing. So a lot of it is research. And then you want to everything else that goes into your listings. Once you decide to offer something, then it's making the products, or it's designing the products, then it's taking the pictures, then it's setting up your listings, not making sure that you're putting your best foot forward with your listings to start and not half-assing it and having to go back and clean it up later, I would say is the most important thing. Because I've been there. I had to go back and fix hundreds of listings because I wasn't paying attention or putting my best foot forward. I was just, I was skipping on the work. So just spend the extra time making sure you're putting out good stuff initially, and you're going to get better over time. The more you do it, the more reps you put in, you're going to get better and better and better. Then you're going to spend 30 minutes on old listings. So this is revamping and improving old listings, looking at the stats, looking at the breadcrumbs that I was telling you before to see what they're doing, what kind of traffic they're getting, which keywords are getting traffic, what needs fixed, what needs revamped. If listings aren't getting any traffic or sales after several months, then they probably need to get fixed. They need to get revamped. And you're going to spend early on, you may not have a lot of old listings to look at, but as your business grows, you're going to have more and more of a lion's share of listings to kind of go back and kind of see what they're doing. And again, early on, circling back on that stuff is only going to help you because it's going to give you information to make future decisions. And that's what this game is all about, using the information that you have to make better future decisions so that you can grow faster. And the last part of this is 30 minutes promoting. So this is promoting and marketing your business. And this may be something that you don't add in, and nor should you. Like I was talking about in the marketing section, you probably don't want to add this in right away. This is something you want to layer in when you're ready down the road. And this can also be, so promoting, this could be releasing content on social media, email marketing, blogging, things like that, but it can also be figuring out your promotional and marketing strategy each month. Which sales you're going to run, how you want to, which announcements you want to put in your Etsy shop. Is there any special promos you want to offer? Different things like that. So it's inside of Etsy too that you want to spend time with promotion and marketing. So all this together is going to be the 160 minutes a day. And I know exactly what you're saying. I'm working full time. I have a family. I have a combination of both. I can't do all this per day. That is completely ridiculous. And I'm going to say tough, do it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to say do what you can, scale it down and give yourself the structure to be able to do these things. So maybe you can only do 100 minutes a day, and break it out. So then that's 100 minutes. It's 30 minutes, 60 minutes of this, and then 20 and 20 of this, or 30, whatever it is, whatever the math is there. Or maybe you only do 60 minutes a day, or maybe it's only 30 minutes a day. You can find some time to create this structure so that you are taking action steps each and every week, preferably each and every day towards your business, because that's how you're going to, I hit the mic. That's how you're going to move faster and faster and learn faster and faster. This is just the framework and the structure to give you a starting point, to give you a way to make incremental improvements. So you roll everything else that I just talked about up into this, and then you can work on your business each and every day. All right, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully that didn't freak you guys out. I know that was a lot. We went through a lot of stuff. Pretty fast, but I wanted to give you a good foundation of what to work on. So Q&A is next. So you guys can start. If you have questions, put them in the chat. I'll get to as many as I can before we get out of here. But like I said at the beginning, I have an offer for you guys if you want to grow your Etsy business even more and take advantage. I newly released the Etsy Games VIP program. I'm just going to talk about it really fast. So it's a super fun and engaging way to stay motivated and learn how to grow your Etsy business. The top entrepreneurs look at business like a game that they have to win. You get more sales, you get more traffic, you have more fun. So I wanted to create a program for Etsy that was in the spirit of that. So you could have fun, stay motivated, and make more money, more sales in your Etsy business. So I know some people probably are watching this that are in the Etsy Games VIP and can attest to what is inside there. I put everything inside there to help Etsy sellers grow. So it's for if you're struggling on Etsy, of course. It's for beginners who want to turn their passion into a profit, sellers who want to reach their goals faster with less frustration. You want to learn from someone who's been there. Me, who struggled. I don't want you to have to go through the same struggle. If you want support, motivation, a like-minded community of people growing their business together, and have some freaking fun while you're doing it at the same time. There's no reason why we can't have fun while we're trying to grow our businesses. So here's all the bells and whistles. I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but it's a program showing you everything I have learned in my Etsy career to make $540,000 more in sales. And you can use the same structure. Everything is in there that I've learned to move faster, avoid mistakes, and get closer to your Etsy goals. Of course, there's courses in there. There's an amazing community of like-minded sellers. There's also message boards where you can ask questions. We do live interactive coachings and workshops on Zoom, which is really, really hands-on. So it helps people a lot. So I will post the sign up link in here if you guys want to check it out and take advantage. I know you're going to be like, well, how much is this program? Is it thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, $1 million? Well, the value is at over 2,000 based on what other people are selling this stuff for. I don't want to do that, right? You don't have the money. You don't have 2,000 bucks. So I was going to do it at 50, but I don't want to do that either because you guys are here wanting to learn. And this is a newer program. The founder cost is 10 bucks, 80% a month, 10 bucks a month to go and learn and get hands-on training. Because I want you to be able to come in there and learn and grow as fast as possible. And I'm also doing a 7-day free trial. So there's literally no risk. You join, you don't like it, you click the cancel button, you get out. Literally no risk. And like I said, if you've ever looked at similar programs, they're hundreds or thousands of dollars, which is ridiculous because you're trying to start your business, you're trying to learn, you're trying to grow. You don't have hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to spend on learning and training. So my goal is to get you in the door and blow your doors off with the resources and training in there and help you make some sales. I prove it every single day inside that community, but I got to charge something because I put a lot of work into it. I'm in there every single day. So I want to make it easily manageable for you to get in there and be able to start working and growing on your business and blow you away with value. So again, make sure you guys get that today. There's a link in the chat. I think I pinned the link in the chat. Let me make sure that I pin this. There we go. And it's pinned at the top. If you want to check it out, save the link, check it out, see what it's all about. I hope to see you guys in there. And let's get to enough of that spiel. Let's get to some questions and we'll see what we got in here. All right. Ooh, got a lot of questions. All right. We got some time. We're doing good. We are doing good. Christy, how long does the program take? It's self-paced. It's as long as you need it. So the goal is to help go on a journey with me, and I can help you build out your business because it's a slow process to build out your business. So it's not like do this for 6 months and you're going to be making 6 figures. No, it's do at your own pace. I'm there doing live calls every week with you, live workshops, calls, and then there's help inside the forum too. So it's at your own pace. Use it as much or as little as you need, but it's nice to have a trusted, motivational place to go where it's positive. It's not like a crazy Facebook group. All right, let me see. And I'll send out a recording of this, guys. If you came late, I'll send out a recording so you don't have to try to figure out what the heck I talked about. All right, so here's a good one. So Gregory Rogers, you mentioned revisiting old listings. How do you find which keywords worked well for you? So you can go into if you go in your listings and you go to, there's a little gear bar where you can see listing stats, individual listing stats, and you scroll the whole way to the bottom, it'll have all your keywords in that listing and how much traffic they brought in. So you want to use more of the keywords that brought in more traffic, less of the keywords that didn't bring in any traffic. And keep in mind, you can look at it on a specific time frame. So you can look at it on 30 days, you can look at it for multiple months. So that has to keep in mind too. If you're only looking at it on 30 days, you may not get a lot of traffic in 30 days. But if you're looking at it for like the last 6 months, that'll give you a bigger picture. So you just have to be careful with how you're looking at it and look at the time frame to see, okay, how much traffic am I getting in a certain amount of time frame? And then that's going to tell me if the keywords, obviously sales play into part too. If you're getting a lot of sales on a specific listing, we'll go look at your keywords and see which keywords are bringing in the most traffic. And those are probably the ones that you can attribute to more sales as well. So that's how I would do it. And then again, don't make the other part of this too is don't make a lot of changes. A lot of people go and look at their listings, look at their stats, and their listings aren't doing well. And then they change it a week later, and then they change it 2 weeks later. Leave it up for, I would say, at least 6 months, 4 to 6 months to see how it's going to do. Because sometimes it takes a while. It's really weird. Sometimes it takes a while for the algorithm to categorize it and start sending traffic. And then some stuff is seasonal and you may not even realize it. So yeah, just give it a little bit of time before you make changes, and then too many frequent changes, you're going to dive bomb that listing. All right. So what other questions do we have? Oh, this is a good one. All right. How many items do you suggest to start a product line? So this really varies on your niche and exactly what your product line is, but usually the more the better. The bigger chunk the better. So I would say anywhere like 10 to 20 is a good place to start to really uh, give the algorithm and yourself a chunk of information. Because I see it all the time where people will go in, they'll open their shop, and then they have 2 listings for this category, 1 listing here in this category, 1 listing here in this category, 5 listings here in this category. And nothing's really doing well because all of those listings are in different categories, different target audiences, different keywords. So just from a pure numbers perspective of how much competition there is out there and how many keywords there are out there, there is a lot of people buying. There's also a lot of competition too. So you got to at least give the algorithm a chunk of data to be like, okay, here are all of these listings are somewhat related. They're targeting the same audience. So I think it's good for me to start sending some traffic this way and see how these listings are going to start to perform. It's just giving yourself and the algorithm a little bit more data to work with, and then you kind of build on it. And you don't have to do it all at once. You set a consistent listing strategy plan, and you're like, you set a plan and you're like, okay, I want to do 2 to 3 listings a week. So you do 2 to 3 listings a week, and you build on each of your product on that product line till you have, 10, 15, 20 listings over time. Because the older listings you're going to be able to start looking at and seeing if they're getting any traffic, and the newer listings are going to just help everything, just help build out your shop a little bit more and give it more data. So I think it works better slowly adding stuff to your shop instead of just bulk doing it. Because some people will do like 50 draft listings and then they'll launch them all at once. Well, that's a lot of work without you really knowing what is going to happen. What if you released 50 listings at once and none of them do well? Well, you wasted all that time. Whereas you could have released a couple of listings each week and started to pay attention. Okay, is this niche getting traffic? Is it working? I'm getting some stuff. I'm going to keep releasing stuff. Or I started to get sales. I'm going to keep releasing stuff. But if you keep releasing stuff and you're getting no movement, that's telling you something's wrong. So don't, like I said before, don't keep doing it if you're not getting any results from it. Granted, it will take time. There is a time element to it, but you got to pay attention to what's going on and kind of learn from what's going on so you can pivot and make adjustments and not do a lot of work that may not be necessary. Because that's very frustrating, and that gets people frustrated and gets people wanting to stop what they're doing. So that's what I would suggest as far as how to look at the different product lines. All right, let me see what other questions are here. All right, still struggling. Am too broad, offering watercolor art, acrylic art, prints, photography. That's a lot of different stuff. So I would just say it depends on which, how many of each, because these are somewhat different. It's a similar audience. The target market is similar, especially with the art stuff. Photography is a little bit different, but there could be some crossover there. But if you go in there and you only have a couple of each, that's really not enough to see, okay, are people not really wanting what I'm offering? I know for a fact that people are, the demand for all this stuff is high. So it really comes down to, are they not wanting your style of stuff? Is there just not enough stuff? Maybe you need to niche down a little bit further. Maybe your watercolor is just too broad. Maybe it's just very broad. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Maybe you need to niche down into some specific subject matter watercolor art, or some specific, more specific art prints, and kind of start there and not start too broad where it's like, oh, all this is watercolor. Well, it's like, no, it's only watercolor flowers. It's only specific watercolor ocean scenes or something like that. That'll give you like a good starting point, because all those have audiences. You just have to try and capitalize on that audience and drive some of that traffic to your shop. And you do that by, the keywords, but you also do that with offering multiple product lines. So hopefully that helps. All right, Cozy. My shop is new, and I noticed I don't have any stats, even though I do have a bit of traffic. How long does it usually take Etsy to show you stats on your listings? So, I mean, it's immediate. There shouldn't be a delay with stats. So you get the overall shop stats, and then you have the individual listing stats. So there shouldn't be a delay with how much traffic is being shown. Now, different listings are going to have different stats. Some of your listings may not be getting any traffic. So I remember I looked at your shop before, Cozy. I don't think you have a lot of products yet too, which is probably your problem. You just don't have enough products in there. So you're just, you're like a grain of sand in an ocean. Not to make you feel bad. It just, you gotta build off of it. It takes a little bit of time to get more data out there. And your shop is newer too. So it just takes the algorithm a little bit more time to categorize your shop, figure out your audience. And that's why you can help. That's why you can help the algorithm help you by giving the algorithm more data. So then it's like, okay, I know this is the audience that this shop is serving. Whereas if you don't have a lot of keywords, you don't have a lot of SEO data in there, the algorithm's just really not sure yet of your shop. So it's not going to take a risk and send a lot of traffic to a shop that it's not sure. Again, remember, the algorithm's only goal in life is to make Etsy money. So they're not going to really take a lot of chances on sending valuable customers to a shop where they're not sure if they're going to buy. They'll dabble a little bit. Don't get me wrong. They do give you a slight boost to see how your listing is going to perform. But I think that's a little bit easier if your shop's a little bit more built out and a little bit more substantial. So a product launch. Whoops, wrong one. Where's that one at? So a product line would be a shop category. Well, a shop category, it could be, you could have the same shop category. So your category is like, okay, is this mugs and tumblers, or the category women's t-shirts? That's your overall category. But you can also have categories in your shop, like watercolor art is like a category, and then you have all the listings in that category, and that's on the left-hand side. So that's how I would think about your product lines, is inside your shop, where that makes sense. If you have a watercolor art category, then under that is all your watercolor arts. Or you could break it out a little bit further. You could do watercolor flower art, and then you have 10 listings under watercolor flower art, and then you have watercolor bird art. You have 20 listings under there. So those are your different product lines that are still under the same niche. That makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. A little bit of time left. What's the best way to use keywords in your description? So a good place to start for this, honestly, is using AI to create your descriptions rather than having to write them all yourself. But you got to give it a specific prompt so it's not going to give you some crazy description. So the more information you give it, the better your descriptions are going to be. So usually how I like to start is a description at the top. You basically who the item is for, why you should buy it, value terminology of how it's created, why is it different, what sets it apart. So it'd be like a paragraph. You don't want to write too much because people aren't going to read all that. A lot of people don't read descriptions anyways. So I like to break it out in a section. So I'll have basically it's your elevator sales pitch at the top. And in that's going to be naturally occurring keywords. And you can tell AI to create a product. So a lot of people do, they're like, create a listing description for gold pendant necklace. That's not going to be a good description. It's not enough information, right? Give it all the information. So you can create a listing description for a gold pendant necklace that's 14 inches wide, has a flower on the pendant, as much information as possible. And then you can naturally include these keywords in the description, gold pendant necklace, woman's accessory gift, Mother's Day gift, different things like that. And it'll include it. And then you can say, keep the description at 200 words or less or something like that. And then you can have it break out the description into different sections where it has a specs section of the specific specs of the product. You can have it do like a care instructions section. You can have it do a ordering instructions section. So basically the goal of your description is to answer any question before a customer has it so they don't leave. So if someone is really looking at your shop and they take the extra step to go to your description, you better answer their question in the description. So the sections with a heading of each section is going to help people find what they're looking for faster for the people that are going there. So that's why I like to break it out into those specific sections. So that's how I would do it. But yeah, use AI, give it as much information as possible. Make sure you're including keywords in there because those keywords will show up with Etsy. It helps with Google, but you don't want a keyword dump. I still see people do this. They'll put a list of keywords in there. That's not good. It looks spammy, and the algorithm hates that because it's just not good. It's not a good look. So don't do it that way. All right. Another question or two. No, Etsy does not let you do sub products, subcategories. For that one was for Leslie. Ben, what can you do about competitors who copy your products? You can report the listing. Etsy has a reporting process. I think there's somewhere on the listing where you can report it and basically fill it out to say that it's infringement. Yeah, if you're unsure, you can do a case with Etsy as well, because you will see that sometimes, especially if you have successful stuff. People will knock you off, but it's hard if they change it a little bit and you don't have it trademarked. It is copyright infringement. Etsy's pretty good about taking stuff down if you report it. They don't really ask a lot of questions, which can be good and bad. Because I've had stuff taken down by people that report it, and it absolutely was not trademark infringement. But at the end of the day, I moved on and just kept focusing on what I can control. It is what it is. This is a good one. So categories also work as keywords, right? So categories help people when they're filtering out stuff in search. So that's good. And the category of the listing itself, and then the category in your shop, they act as mini landing pages. So those keywords do matter as well too. So that's why I like to have more subject matter categories rather than actual, like instead of doing like mugs, I would rather break it out into funny dog mugs. So it's more specific, using more specific keywords, and those will work as small landing pages. So it helps. SEO is all about, people overcomplicate SEO. Basically to simplify it as much as possible. Not that it can't get a little complicated because there's a lot of variables, but that in simplest terms, SEO is just about matching keywords to someone looking for those keywords. So the more valuable keywords, the more related keywords, the more keywords that make sense, that are duplicated throughout your shop and throughout your listings, is just going to increase your chances of being shown to the audience that is looking for those things using those keywords. It's the way it works on Google. It's the way it works on Etsy. It's the way it works everywhere. So that's pretty much, there's external stuff that you can't control, but that is one thing that you can control. So putting those valuable keywords everywhere that you can will definitely help. Whew. All right. We routed off a lot of questions. I think I got to most of these. So what have you sold on Etsy that has been very successful? You trying to steal my specific things, Christy? No, I'm just kidding. So my success has come from, again, my most successful shop is Graphic Tees. It has come when I followed the strategy that I just talked to you guys about. When I first started, I was selling one-off designs based on random stuff, based on different stuff that was kind of all over the map. And then I took a step back and I was like, I don't really care about this stuff. I want to do stuff that I care about. So I released a product line on fitness, on working out. That was stuff I cared about. So instead of one-off, I did 2 dozen, to fill that out. No, I swear. I know, I was just kidding. So I filled out that product line to serve that audience. There was demand for it. I didn't put my own special sauce, my own special spin on it. And I was able to build out that product line. I was like, that worked out really good. And I get to wear my own stuff, which is really cool. What else am I interested in that fits in my niche that I'm passionate about? So then I started doing dog stuff. I started building out that product line, funny dog shirts for humans, not dogs. So, and that started to do really well. And I still, I was passionate about it. So I was motivated to do it. And then, people were buying my stuff locally. It spiraled into other things. I had one shirt featured in BuzzFeed, and that did really well. It didn't account for a lot of my growth, but that one product did well for like a month, which was really cool. So it spirals in different things. So that's where you just got to have a strategy, follow what you're doing, and then follow the breadcrumbs, and then have the framework, and it will lead to other things. You just have to stay the course and pay attention to what is going on. So that is it. I'm going to leave with that. I'm going to drop the mic on that. Hopefully this has helped you guys out, and at least at the end of the day, I just want to motivate you to keep going, keep trying. You will find your way. Don't get frustrated. It's all part of the journey. You can do it too. If I can do it, other people can do it. You can do it. You can get your piece of the pie. Just stay the course. And I would love to have you in the VIP game so I can work with you directly a lot more in person. We'll do in person. We do workshops, all that stuff. You can ask questions. I'll dive into your shop, all the things that you need help, because my goal is to get you from A to closer to your goals, if not exceeding your goals. So click on that link to join. That is it for today's episode. I got to go because I am losing my voice. Have an amazing rest of your day.